Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chase Yantz. On the other line, right there is Brady King. How we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. It's been a minute since you've been on the show.
It has been. It's been a while. Yeah, sickness last week.
Sickness and school and whatever the heck and
Yeah,
breaks. It's just been a whole whatever and all that. And we're back when it comes to playoff football and all that. So
right.
not gonna waste a whole lot of time getting into it. Your dad's a Titans fan, correct?
He is. He is.
Yes, I have much dislike for him this week as
Yeah,
my Bengals take on the Tennessee Titans. The one seed Titans take on the four-seeded Cincinnati Bengals.
they do.
Did you get to see any of the wild card game last week with Cincinnati and Las Vegas?
I saw the whole thing. Yes, I did.
What were your thoughts? From a TV perspective? I was at the game, so
Right.
I was focusing on a lot of other things. But what were your
Mhm.
thoughts on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all of them?
Well, I think Burrow played a good game. I mean, he played as good as he needed to get the win, which is all that matters.
Yeah.
I thought Jamar played a really good game. He was definitely the best receiver on the team for the game. I mean, I also on the year, but like that particular game, he played a lot better than T. Higgins. T. Higgins actually had a couple drops.
Yep.
And then I thought Joe Burrow did exactly what he needed. He converted some big third downs, and it was a good game by the Bengals overall.
Yep. It was a little too surreal that we actually got that win. It was up there. I was up in section 224 with my dad, brother, and a couple other friends and all that. But it was, there were 66,000 people there, set the attendance record of Paul Brown Stadium. The atmosphere there was electric. From sitting up there, I like the end zone seats, and like corner seats and end zone seats are really good seats to be at for games and all that stuff.
They
But
are.
but like you could see like in the end zone, you can see a lot of like how plays develop and all that stuff. And from what Joe Burrow was able to do, it wasn't like he wasn't trying to force anything or anything like that. He was just making simple, easy throws, and a lot of those throws were to Jamar Chase because he was able to, not even really find separation. Just his quick nature. They were just running a lot of underneath routes and all that, and just they were converting and just moving the sticks off of it. The only disappointment that I had was that we had a good amount of red zone opportunities. I think we settled for two field goals in the red zone, which very well could have been touchdown drives, which could have put that game away a lot earlier. But
Sure.
I'm still glad we moved on to the next round and all that. Joe Mixon really didn't get it going a whole lot. The Raiders did shut him down to about 48 yards rushing compared to his 123-yard day the first time they played. But I don't know what type of load we'll see of Joe Mixon on Saturday. It just kind of depends on how the start of the game goes, because I think that's going to be the most important point of emphasis when it comes to that. On the Titans side of things, Derrick Henry's back, most likely. He's trying to downplay it throughout the media. He's saying, "Oh, I might be back" or whatever. I have no idea, but I think the motive is that he's back. And what kind of like element? I mean, I think we know what kind of element he brings to that offense, but like, how about their whole team? Like, what does he do for that entire team?
I mean, he adds their best player back to the lineup, which is huge, especially since like everyone when you play Derrick Henry he's probably the most frightening player to play in the league potentially. I mean, there's a couple others you could throw some defenders,
Mm,
but in terms of a defense, I mean, you do not want to take a straight on playoff from Derrick Henry. So the Bengals defense is going to be a lot. If obviously he's going to play probably, but the defense is going to have to be a lot more like uh loose, I guess, like you could say.
yep.
And play action could be a big thing for the Titans. It opens up the pass game as well.
Yes, it does. I mean, having Derrick Henry back in the lineup, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pitch count he's on and all that. He did have a foot injury, been out for 8 to 10 weeks. Trying to kind of grade that and all that. Like, looking at it though, with the foot injury, it's kind of tough coming back because you're still trying to get your legs under you, still trying to go through contact and all that stuff. But Derrick Henry is a running back that'll be delivering more contact than what he's receiving. He is,
Yeah.
such a big guy at 6'3", like 250 pounds or whatever. He's frightening to say the least.
He's
And
frightening.
the Bengals defensive line took a couple of big hits. The interior line took a couple of big hits. Larry Ogunjobi broke his foot. He got put on IR, and he's been such a huge addition for the Cincinnati Bengals in 2021. And Mike Daniels, the veteran backup, left the game on Saturday and did not return. I don't think he's going to be playing on Saturday. So that leaves BJ Hill alongside DJ Reader and have Josh Tupou in that rotation all. But Trey Hendrickson, that was the big one. He had a concussion Saturday, did not play the rest of the game, able to get the win, and he has been cleared, and he will play Saturday, which could be very big for the Titans offensive line that is also in the bottom 5, just like Cincinnati Bengals. So getting after the quarterback is going to be a big emphasis on both sides of the ball when it comes to that. But, the Titans and the Bengals, they play such different styles of football. When it comes to the Titans playing smash mouth football, they can literally put anyone behind that offensive line. They're a very good run blocking team. And, they've had success even without Derrick Henry, and that got them to the 1 seed. They were able to run the football well and play very good defense, especially with the front 7 on the defensive side of the ball. But by no means the Titans are a soft 1 seed one bit. They are a very hard-nosed football team. They're very well coached by Mike Vrabel. Ryan Tannehill has done enough the last 3 weeks to be able to secure them a number 1 seed. With that being said, Cincinnati on the other side, they play so explosive. They air the ball out like crazy, and they'll take deep shots. They're looking at the Titans secondary, which is looking at like the corners and safeties. Other than Kevin Byard, the Titans secondary is really not all that well. They've got a lot of holes there. They can take some shots on them, but the only thing is they need to have time to take shots to protect Joe Burrow, who has been the most sacked quarterback in football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the Titans is they've played a lot of games without their starting corners this year. I'm not sure if both starting corners will be on the field against the Bengals or not, but it'll definitely be a tall task for the Titans defense because the Bengals have a really good passing game with the 3 wide receivers, and then Joe Mixon's also good out of the backfield, and then Uzama. I mean, he's not like one of the best tight ends in the league, but he's definitely not the worst by any means. He's a very solid tight end. And I think that the Titans are going to have to make a decision. So you can take away Jamar Chase, but if you do that like the Ravens did, it opened up T. Higgins, which I was actually at that Bengals game, which is surprising. They weren't even
really weird.
I know. And then Joe Burrow broke the franchise record. And it was like a college game because like all the yards and like there was no defense being played. It was like an explosive college. It was like an Ohio State.
Big 12 and a Big 12 or a Big 12 defense.
Yeah, it was a Big 12 defense. The Ravens were playing. It looked like, but T. Higgins there. So if you take away Jamar Chase, T. Higgins had 190 yards that game. So but if you trust yourself on T. Higgins, take away Jamar Chase, see what happens, and that's probably the Titans' best go around on defense to stop if they want to stop this their passing game.
And the funny thing about that is you still got Tyler Boyd.
You do have Tyler Boyd,
850-yard receiver, which it's a stacked receiver group. I personally think it's the best receiving group in football overall, but that's for other people to debate. But I think the biggest key for Cincinnati is they're gonna have to jump out early. They're gonna have to jump on them, take some shots, make some big plays downfield, and put some points on the board early in the first quarter, and put the pressure on Ryan Tannehill to throw the football. Because Ryan Tannehill in the playoffs he's been anything but good. The first 2 playoff wins that he had, I think he threw the ball combined 25 times in 2 games. They beat the Patriots and they beat the Ravens, but it was all on the riding shoulders of Derrick Henry running the ball 30 to 35 times, which that could be a factor if the Titans are able to really control pace up front and all that. And if they're able to sustain long drives and score touchdowns. that's a big thing for them. If Cincinnati gets out on front, it could be a very long day for Ryan Tannehill, because that Cincinnati defense, when it comes to a bunch, when it comes to Pro Football Focus and zone coverage, we have 3 of the top 15 corners when it comes to playing in zone and all that. And Cincinnati's still gonna have their hands full when it comes to receivers. AJ Brown he's a fantastic receiver. He's just been hurt this year, but he is very good top of the line receiver. And then Julio Jones looked as though he had a resurgence against the Houston Texans for some reason. I don't know. But I think overall the Titans don't, they have a good front line of receivers, but just depends on the amount of depth going into it. But it really looking at this game, it's going to be who can really jump out to a lead to control their own pace. If the Bengals can jump out and they can throw the football downfield, make explosive plays, put the pressure on Tannehill to throw the football, and even cause some stupid turnovers from him, then I have no issue saying Cincinnati will run away with it. But if Tennessee can get after the quarterback, they can run the football effectively and, put the ball in the end zone, have no issue, then they're definitely going to have an increased chance to win this football game.
Yeah, I mean, Titans don't play well from behind. Like, that's not what they do. So it's not like you're playing the Chiefs, like in terms of coming back. So if that's huge for jumping out to an early lead might be like the key to the game for the Bengals. It might not have anything to do with Derrick Henry, honestly. Like, obviously stopping him, but the main focal point actually might just be score a touchdown on the first drive.
I was even thinking, like, I've even had conversations with a couple of people this week. I'm saying, like, how normally teams, when they win a coin toss, they'll elect to the first, so their defense goes out there first. Yeah. I'm all for getting on offense and trying to take a shot the first play of the game.
Oh, you've got to. I'm
all for it. I mean, maybe not shot the first play of the game, but early on and all that stuff. Get a first down or so, and then take that shot. Just attack. See what it's like.
I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, the worst thing that could happen is deep interception, Titans ball. I mean,
basically a punt.
Yeah, exactly. It's a punt. Like you just went through and out, which I think it's worth the risk in terms of what needs to happen.
In that manner, it definitely is. But yeah, just that first, that start of the game, how both teams kind of responded those first 3 drives or so. Obviously, the game's not one of the first 3 drives, but the tone is definitely set in the first 3 drives, which tone can end up winning you a football game. If you tend to believe in it, tone, which goes to momentum, which goes to late game execution, which equals winning or losing a football game. So, that's going to be key when it comes to Cincinnati and Tennessee, 2 contrasting styles of football clashing at in the Music City. Music to my ears if we win this game and go to the AFC Championship. But we'll talk about that with the picks later on in the show. Over to the next game, we got a rematch. Before we go to that game, the Titans were 5-1 last year when they played us. The Bengals were 5-1. 31-20 Cincinnati. Different team. Get it? Titans defense. Titans defense is a lot better than they were last year. They seem like they're a little more stacked on offense and all, but so Cincinnati, they're better in every department.
Was that game on October 31st?
November 1st. October 31st.
I meant November 1st.
That was the day after the Ohio State-Penn State game.
I knew that because I was in Kings Island's eating place, that big place where there's tons of food. I remember there was TVs and I was watching the Titans-Bengals game.
That must have been really weird thinking the game's literally happening about 25 minutes from you.
Yeah, it was. It was weird.
And the fact that just that whole game just looked weird in general, considering we were wearing the white. We were wearing color rush uniforms. They were all blue.
Mm-hmm.
The whole and there was maybe 10,000 fans there, but it was one of those weird atmospheres. But I don't know. Cincinnati could do it. Tennessee could show why they're the 1 seed. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But that next game at 8:15 on Fox, Bengals game can be seen on Bengals Titans can be seen at 4:30 on CBS and Paramount Plus. But the next game, at 8:15, the Niners and the Packers rematch from earlier in week 3, which Aaron Rodgers' late game heroics driving them down the field, got a Mason Crosby field goal to win that game earlier in the season. Both teams look a little different when it comes to that. How about those 49ers, though, against the Cowboys?
They looked really good. I mean, they honestly have a really good their top 2 receivers are like really good players. Like both guys that were from like solid college teams. And like they weren't from Bama or Ohio State or Clemson, but they were like really good receivers for their team. So that they kind of got slept on in the draft a little bit. I mean, they were high picks, but they weren't as high as they could have been. Especially Deebo Samuel. That dude's ridiculous. He might be. He has an argument for a top 5 receiver, whatever you want to call him, because he kind of plays running back too. So
I mean, you think about it, he's a real life flex player when it comes to fantasy wise. That's, I mean, what he's been able to do down the stretch. I believe I saw a stat earlier where I think it was since about it might have been week 10 or 11. He's had 419 rushing yards like the last 8 games, which is actually about 2 yards more than Ezekiel Elliott.
Wow.
Stretch.
Dang.
That's a significant.
It's also because the Cowboys don't give Zeke the ball. If we're going to be,
that is true. They do like to toss football around the yard a bit, and
they do.
We saw happen last week, but
but
just he's the ultimate Swiss Army knife. You think about it. Deebo Samuel was literally like top 7 in receiving in the NFL this year. He had 4. Actually, I think he was in the top. He was in like the top 5 or 6. 1,405 yards receiving off 77 catches. And, their leading rusher is Elijah Mitchell at 963 yards. But Deebo Samuel has definitely emerged. That run game of the Niners, the push the offensive line's able to give, the diabolical concepts that Kyle Shanahan draws up for Jimmy Garoppolo to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
Is incredible. I mean,
the fact that they're trying to, get away from Jimmy Garoppolo is a little weird to me. Stay with him. He's not bad. He's not bad enough to go with Trey Lance. I'm sorry, but Trey Lance, I don't see much for Trey Lance. I mean, he was good at North Dakota State. He's really good at not turning the ball over. I mean, if you don't want to, from at least in college against FCS teams, he wasn't. He was. But,
I think that's another thing they're looking at too. But that's still, there's still a lot more to be as an NFL quarterback.
Oh yeah, I just think. I mean, obviously he could be good. I could be wrong, but I don't get why they're trying to keep Garoppolo for another year at least. Have him as your starting quarterback. He brought you to a Super Bowl, and now here you are in the second round of the playoffs. I mean, I'm not saying it's just him, but he's pretty good, honestly.
Me. I mean, you don't want to jump the gun, is what I think what you're trying to say, and all that. Yeah. You don't want to jump the gun and pull the plug too early. Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't done bad over this stretch. He's done good enough to get them to this point. All right,
he's done good enough.
Referring back to this Trey Lance point. Playing in the NFL, you're not going to play quarterback trying, you're not going into the league just to try not to lose. You're going in to win games, not just to prevent yourself from losing. It's kind of a weird line and all that stuff because he's, that's when it comes to throwing check downs. That's when it comes to eating stuff and throwing it away and eating sacks and all that. But Jimmy Garoppolo has made some big throws over the course of the last 5-6 weeks of the season. He has made some big throws. They've had some big plays. The receivers for the Niners have stepped up overall. I mean, Deebo obviously had a great year. Brandon Ayuk's been big. Someone else, Jawan Jennings. I think he had a couple big catches against the Rams in Week 18. I think he had 2 touchdowns. He was really big over that stretch. Obviously, George Kittle, he didn't get a whole lot of looks this past week, but I could feel like they're definitely going to try to get him involved this Saturday night. This is a very winnable game for the Niners right here. They almost did it early in week 3, and here we are right about 4 months later. And
do you know if Bosa's playing?
Who?
Nick Bosa?
I'm not sure. He was listed as questionable today. So as of right now, he's questionable. So we still got to keep that status up for him, throughout the next 2 days or so. But that's obviously going to be pretty big. And coming in the comments, my teammate Turtle. Any upset alerts for this weekend? Well, this is your game. This is your upset. This would probably be your biggest upset of the week, if anything.
Niners over Packers.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you think about it, the Niners, I mean, they've been so good at running the football down the stretch, trying to get some numbers up here on how well they've ran the football. But I think they're obviously in the top half of the league, probably top quarter of the league. They're able to get a good push up there. Trent Williams, let's give props for Trent Williams on the backside. Pro Football Focus has him graded as the number one left tackle by far. Like, I don't think anyone's touching him. He has like a 90, like a 98.
I think it's all time or something. I think it might be the highest all time for PFF.
Yeah. It's like 98 or 99, which is
I think it might be a 99. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's unbelievable, unreal. I mean, he's literally been the Great Wall of China behind Jimmy, like on Jimmy Garoppolo's backside, so he hasn't had to worry about a single thing over there. And makes Garoppolo's job a whole lot easier compared to handing off the football and making simple throws. But if any game is on upset alert, it could be this one. Let's get to the other side of things, though. Green Bay is the number 1 seed. They're 13-4. Aaron Rodgers has, he has, people have doubted him and all that stuff this year. Well, doubted him, but they've still pulled through. Devontae Adams has played fantastic. They've gotten, a bit of a running back duo now in Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. So in the Packers defense has obviously stepped up. Their front seven's been good. The back end, I think they lost to Jari Alexander earlier in the year, but they're starting to play pretty well. So, this is still the number 1 seed for a reason. But how much is Aaron Rodgers going to have to do to win this game this weekend?
I think he's going to have to do a lot more than people think. I think that the Niners will be able to score. But I think that Aaron Rodgers can do anything really. Like he could get in a shootout. So he's going to have to be himself. He's going to have to make difficult throws. He's going to have to take shots from time to time, but also don't get greedy, obviously, and find your guys. I mean, if you want Lazard, hit him. If you think Devontae isn't going to get double teamed, that's the problem with Devontae is people will try to double team him, and if you don't see that, you could accidentally throw the ball in a really troublesome situation. I feel like most of Aaron Rodgers' picks are trying to get it to Adams in a tight situation, and he doesn't throw many picks.
That is true.
When he does, it's because of that. So I don't think he's not going to do that in a big game. So I think Aaron Rodgers will be fine here if he just plays like himself.
Yeah, I'd see no issue there. The Niners secondary is actually, for a young secondary, they're actually pretty talented overall. They got Dak last week on an interception. And a lot of it comes from that front four, but that's another thing he's got to worry about is that front four. And Rodgers, if you remember, is dealing with that broken toe injury, that little pinky toe, which could play a factor when it comes to that pressure that if Nick Bosa plays on Saturday night and then Aaron Armstead up the middle, it's going to play a pretty big factor, overall of that front four and the pressure and what Aaron Rodgers is able to do. Getting out of the pocket, stepping up in the pocket, staying in the pocket and making tough throws. But you want to hear a crazy stat on Aaron Rodgers since that Saints game?
I do.
Just take a guess on his touchdown to interception ratio, taking that Saints game out week 1.
Ooh, I've got to guess. Okay, let me think. So taking out the Saints game, we're
talking ratio right here, all right?
Okay, yeah. I'm going to say 3-1.
Oh, no, you're way off, man.
No, I'm gonna go 5-1.
I'll give you another guess. 5-1. Oh, no. Since the Saints game, his ratio is 18.5 to 1.
Wow.
It's 37 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
2 picks. I didn't even know that.
2 picks. I know. You got college football is your thing right there, but man, it's.
I knew he didn't throw many picks. I didn't know it was 2.
Yeah, 37 touchdowns to 2 picks if you take out that Saints game.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, he's protected the football so well, and he's still been able, to make some ridiculous throws this entire season. I still remember that that Browns game on Christmas. Just some of the throws he's able to make to Devontae Adams, back shoulder, some deep way. His back shoulder to Devontae Adams is
absolute
unmatched.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, people are still putting, our guys, my guys, Burrow and Chase up there with them. I mean, but Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, I think that's the done deal. I mean, they have.
It's the best quarterback and the best wide receiver.
Yeah, you've seen like people talk about like they have like unwritten languages, and even like they'll even give each other a look, and there's like 5 different things they could do on this route and like 5 different variations, and they know which one it is. Like
they know exactly which one's going to happen.
The code is whatever the code is. I mean that's the Morse code's unbelievable when it comes to those two throwing and catching the football. Yeah. I mean, this Packers Niners game is probably the best pick for an upset. It's 2 different quarterbacks that are on different levels and all that, but it should be a tight game, honestly, if the Niners are able to sustain the run. And overall, it's kind of like a Bengals Titans game in a way, but it's a little more advanced when it comes to the metrics.
Yeah.
So that is your Saturday matchup right there. The Niners and Packers. It's 8:15 p.m. on Fox Saturday. We got another hell of a game right here. Rams Bucks. That's Sunday at 3:00 on NBC. Matt Stafford finally moved on and got his first playoff win of his career. And it's crazy. His next game's got to be against Tom Brady in the playoffs. So talk about a turnaround.
That's a huge turnaround. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like, I've been a fan of Matt Stafford since like 2013, back since he was with Megatron. And it's nice to see him finally get to this point because he deserved more than the Lions. It was pretty obvious that he was better than what the Lions made it look like. And having a top 5 receiver is just – actually, I mean, if you want to call him the number 1 receiver, call him the number 1 receiver. That's fine. Like, I won't even argue hard. He's that good. He's the Triple Crown. He's a beast. Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford connection, as well as Odell getting some big time plays. It's pretty scary what the Rams can do.
Yes, they are. Cooper Kupp, 145 catches. I have the stats up here. 145 catches, 1,947 yards, and 16 touchdowns. Talk about some Madden video game numbers right there. That is downright unbelievable. And Matthew Stafford, 4,886 yards in 17 games, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. I think he threw 9 picks the last 4 weeks of the regular season, which is it's kind of iffy. But
he was on a little bit of a downhill slope for a little bit there for sure.
And he played a clean game against the Cardinals on Monday. So
he did.
Not a whole lot to be concerned when it comes to that, but he is going into the house of Tom Brady. They are going to be down in Florida. Game's going to be on NBC. Brady, 5,316 yards passing, 43 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. There's been a whole lot of, absence when it comes to receivers getting hurt, when it comes to receivers taking off their pads and throwing stuff into the crowd and running into the locker room and we all get that. But Tom Brady has literally just delivered this entire time. Whoever's on the field, he just elevates the team and makes them so much better. And we talk about, he is the GOAT. We don't have to really explain why he is the GOAT, but there's so many different things, so many different ways to express that. But he's had one of his best statistical seasons overall when it comes to yards and it comes to completion percentage and everything. Like he's played really efficient this year. He hasn't really turned the ball over a crazy ton. I mean, I will take that back. This is actually the most turnovers he's had, I think, in his career when it comes to interceptions and fumbles combined. But he's been a lot more aggressive this year.
He has been
at age 44.
Yeah. He's been aggressive. He has. And it's crazy though. If you asked me this like 6 years ago, I would think by this point he'd be either retired or just washed, or like a Drew Brees last year or a Big Ben this year. But no, he's not like that at all. He's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, he's top 3 probably. He's that good. He's ridiculous.
Yeah, I really don't understand how he's still able to do it, but that's just one of those 7 wonders of the world when it comes to that way.
Yeah.
But Brady's playing at a high level. Hopefully they might get a Leonard Fournette back this week. Playoff Leonard Fournette last year was huge for them. They were able to run the football, and Tom Brady was just able to have a lot of time and throw. So I mean that factor of having a good running back overall that'll play large when it comes to that. And looking, I honestly have this as the upset game. The Rams are rolling. I will say the Rams can get going. And, I think the way that they're going to be able to do this is with that man up the middle, Aaron Donald. I mean, their front four is going to have to get a lot of pressure, and they're going to have to show a lot of disguised looks on Tom Brady. Tom Brady, like I think I said on the last show, he's seen probably every coverage that mankind has ever seen in football.
Oh, for sure.
The amount of time he's been in the game, but there's no real blueprint to beat him and all that. You still got to send pressure at him. But when you're playing, I mean, he seems as though he plays a lot better when it comes to throwing against zones than it does against man. But, man coverage is going to have to be aggressive, and it's going to have to work. That's the thing. Most of those guys on the outside, they're able to beat their matchups and all that stuff. But I think the Rams match up with them pretty well, considering the fact that Chris Godwin's not playing and Antonio Brown is no longer with the team, and they have injuries other places when it comes to depth and all that. So, I mean, Mike Evans versus Jalen Ramsey, it's going to be one heck of a matchup to watch.
It is. I mean, it's going to be nice. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some talking involved in that because, it's Jalen Ramsey, and Mike Evans too. Him and Marshawn Lattimore go after it.
They do.
All the time. So that's
good.
I
think I saw a stat though, where what was it? I think the last 2 games that Jalen Ramsey's played against Mike Evans, he's only given up 5 catches for about 54 yards.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. So
I mean, over a 2-game stretch, that's very good against one of the best receivers in the league. So it's definitely going to be a showdown when it comes to that. I mean, looking at the other side of the ball for the Rams, they get Cam Akers back. I'm still really surprised that he came back, even though I think he tore his he tear his Achilles or something like that in the offseason. He tore something really serious.
It was bad. I mean, I don't know I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah.
But he ended up,
I have no idea how he's back, but
kind of crazy.
Just one heck of a blessing for the Rams to say. But they were able to run the football later on in the second half against the Cardinals. But I have a hard feeling seeing that the Rams are going to get out in front against the Bucs like that. It's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a pretty good shootout overall, and there's going to be a lot of fireworks down there in Tampa. But and the Bucs defense, on the back end, their secondary has just been injury plagued this entire season. They corners wise, they haven't really been able to have any consistent cornerback play. Throughout 2021, they've been just filling guys in here and there everywhere. Again, the front 4, really front 7 is what's going to have to win this game against Matthew Stafford. If you recall the last time, Tom Brady did throw for about 400 yards against them, but Matt Stafford just played more efficient, and he was 380 yards to 4 touchdowns, no picks. So it just depends on who's going to be the more efficient quarterback, who's going to make that one mistake that's just going to be critical and cost their team. Because both of these teams, I mean, I could see whoever wins this game wins Super Bowl. Like whoever wins this game, I think has the best chance to win Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think they might become favorites in Vegas. I mean, maybe the Packers, but
it could be
the Packers. It's one of these teams for sure.
I mean, seeing how the Packers have really choked in the NFC Championship, however,
that could affect it.
Yes, the last 2 years, couple years before that, Aaron Rodgers hasn't been to Super Bowl in 10 plus years and all that. I personally picked the Packers in the offseason to win it all. I thought this would be, third time's a charm. They're going to get over the hump, go to LA and win the Super Bowl. That was my pick all the way back. I'm pretty sure I picked Packers Bills back then. Back in like August, but that was about it. But I have a strong feeling that the winner of this game very well uh can go into Lambeau, run the football, make efficient plays downfield, throwing the football, and beat them. Just like the Bucs did last year. I don't think weather's going to play a whole. I don't think weather's going to be as big as a factor as everyone thinks it will be when it comes
I
to playing in this championship game. But the Packers might not make it out against the Niners. We don't know
you
yet.
never know.
We have no idea.
Never
I
know.
mean, one seeds off the divisional round. That's one thing you got to look at when it comes to the upsets and all that. And that is another thing, resting your players on the final week of the season. You're basically giving them 2, sometimes even 3 weeks off if you've already clinched the one seed a week before the final. But it's interesting how it's interesting how coaches kind of like balance that out. So Rams Bucks gonna be one heck of a game. We'll pick that in just a minute. But I think we all can agree that this next game at 6:40 on NBC, no, that's on CBS, sorry, CBS and Paramount Plus, Bills Chiefs, rematch of the AFC Championship last year. This is going to be one hell of a game.
This is huge. You got 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for sure. And then you've got, fireworks. This game has fireworks written all over it, which is what I'm hoping for sure. Like last year, the Chiefs beat the Bills in the playoffs, and that was definitely a hyped up game. Honestly, it was not as close as I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll get that. Maybe we'll get that matchup we expected last year in this game, because obviously it's a great matchup, and probably the matchup fans want to see.
Definitely. And I remember last year when the Bills did jump out to a 9-0 lead in the first quarter, but then the Chiefs were able to storm back. And the Chiefs have always done this though. They've always just been
always go down, yeah.
They'll always go down, then they'll just turn it on whenever they need to and all that. But this is the last Bills team you can do that with. You can't do that with this Bills team at all. They will. You already saw it against the good Patriots team and all that. They were able to have that switch on before the game and just keep on moving with it. Yeah. We look at it, the Patriots were on a bit of a slide the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to say they caught them, and they caught them a little bit in the right spot, but the Bills were also rolling at the same time. So
they were.
It was a bad spot for the Patriots overall. But, Buffalo, they're starting to get their run game going. Josh Allen, obviously, is Josh Allen. He'll make big plays. 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He can run the ball too, 4,400 yards throwing. Stephon Diggs is Stephon Diggs, explosive receiver. He can make something out of nothing. Devin Singletary run in between the tackles and all that really well. They've gotten the run game going, either if it's with Josh Allen or so. And the Bills defense, we got to give those guys credit too. They're up there when it comes to points per game allowed. They're very, very good at that. They don't allow big plays. Their secondary is, they've been one of the best in football, even without Tre'Davious White. That's going to be the big difference, though. He played the first time against the Chiefs this year, and the Bills, beat up on the Chiefs. He guarded Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's not going to have to worry about him this week. There's going to be a good amount that goes into this, good amount that goes into the game plan on the back end, the front four, how they're going to rush Patrick Mahomes. Because you've seen what Patrick Mahomes does against pressure, though. It's literally it's his right arm. It's whatever, no look, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I can't pinpoint it.
He actually did try to get a little cute against the Steelers and threw a pick that Watt caused. Watt was doing Watt put us in a position to where we had a really good shot at the beginning of the game where he had that tipped pass, which got picked off by Bush.
Yep.
And then obviously he scored a touchdown. But then I'm like, this is the Chiefs. They come back better than any team in the NFL. So I didn't expect to win.
Yeah, they were. Like I said, the Chiefs try to get cute and all that stuff, and then they can turn on a switch whenever. But
yeah, sometimes getting cute works.
Yeah, sometimes it does, especially against a team that definitely, in my mind, shouldn't have made the playoffs, but they did. It happens. It happens. but this is I think the last team to do that against. I think the Bills are the hottest team. They're definitely the hottest team in the AFC for sure. Wow. I'm still trying to process this matchup. We haven't even gotten to the Kansas City Chiefs side of the ball. Patrick Mahomes, 37 touchdowns and 13 picks. If this is what his down year is, I think they'll take it.
Yeah.
They haven't really run the football. They've ran the football okay, but it's a lot of running back by committee type of thing.
Yeah.
Overall, we know they can just put in anybody really in the backfield, and they'll get their 40 or 50 yards, nothing too much because it's all on the arm of Mahomes. Tyreek Hill, 1,239 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns, and obviously Travis Kelce over the middle. Matchup nightmare to say the least. So, and then the Chiefs, this is also another big difference. The Chiefs, if you remember, they were on that slide for about the first 7 or 8 games.
I do.
Their defense against the Bills, in that Week 5 showdown. I mean, it was awful. Daniel Sorensen got beat on so many big plays, and I think he was literally the guy that was just featured in like every single highlight when it came to throwing deep shots down to Stephon Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders. But the defense looks totally revamped. They're getting more pressure at the quarterback. Obviously, Chris Jones inside. Melvin Ingram came over from the Steelers midway through the year. Nick Bolton's done a good job in the middle. Back end, Shavarius Ward and Rashad Fenton, L'Jarius Sneed, Tyrann Mathieu. They've played a pretty good job, other than the Cincinnati game. I hope to see a rematch of those two teams overall, because I don't want to see Buffalo if we get past this. But the defense looks a lot different. The Bills are playing like they were that week, but they're playing at a more consistent pace. The Chiefs offense has gotten going. The Bills defense has played really well. This is going to be one heck of a game to pick in just a minute. Yeah. But we'll roll up to the first game that we were just talking about, the Bengals and Titans. Here we go. Picks. We are in this time of the episode. I'm going to start off with you on this game. How do you feel?
So first of all, it's actually going to be this is a good matchup. Like it's a nice explosive versus not so explosive, but more like they're still dynamic because they can run the ball so well, and like their play action game's really good when they have Henry, but they're not like airing it out like the Bengals. So good matchup, and I'm going to go with the Titans here. I think the 1 seed pulls it out. It's going to be a great game, but I think having Derrick Henry could be huge, and I think they win it like 24-20. 24-20.
I respect it. I mean, I will say Cincinnati, I think, has gotten there a year early. No one expected them to be like this, 11-7 in the divisional round, playing the number 1 seed and giving them a run for their money. I don't think anyone expected the Titans to be the number 1 seed either. But, when something like this is going on, where it seems as though Cincinnati has caught some breaks this year, they've played some really good football. Let's be honest, they were really the only team that was in the playoffs this year, and they're from their division. Yeah. All right. I have faith in my team. I'm going to not just pick this from, just from heart. I'm going to say, I think strategy wise, I think we're going to put a good enough game plan to beat the Titans. And I'm going to roll with us. And I'm going to roll with us to the AFC Championship game. I'm going to say 31-24 Cincinnati. I think we're going to take some shots. I can just envision this right now. I hope the vision is true. I just, I want to see some early touchdowns. I think we can really attack their secondary like that. They just got to keep Joe Burrow protected. And on top of that, our defensive line, next man up strategy on defense. We've really got to come together as one and, not gang tackle Derrick Henry, but I think we're gonna have to literally jump like probably have like 4 or 5 people jump on him, whatever. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. Yeah.
I think if we're able to get out in front, we're gonna have to force Ryan Tannehill to throw the football, and I have confidence we can do that. So I'm going to go Bengals 31-24 over the Titans.
I mean,
I hope.
I don't judge it. I
Yep.
mean,
And I completely respect the pick of 24-20 Titans because I could totally see it happening that way too.
yeah, I mean, it's a good game. I almost picked the Bengals, to be honest. I didn't know who I was going to pick even going on the episode. That was one. That's a toss-up.
Yep, they're just two different types of fireworks is all we're saying, you know.
They are.
Yep, that's what it is. But the later game, Niners-Packers, last week I think everyone's hot topic was the Niners beating the Cowboys as the upset pick. I think that was I think that's what everyone else was saying. The Cowboys were not really, people didn't really think of the Cowboys, and they were not really picking them overall. The Niners got the second round. They're 6-3 on the road this year, but the Packers are 8-0 at home. So from that standpoint, I'm going to say the Packers are going to win this one. I'm going to say 24-17. I think Rodgers is going to make enough plays to keep this thing away. I think they're going to have a lead most of the game, but I think the Niners are still going to be in it. But then, Aaron Rodgers will make one play, another play, and then it would just, keep the Niners out of reach right there. So 24-17 Packers.
Oh, yeah, that's a good pick. I'm actually going to boost each team one touchdown and go 31-24 Packers.
Okay.
I think, again, what you said, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, if the Packers had, if it wasn't Aaron Rodgers, it's just you can't really pick against him in this game. I couldn't do it. Even if I thought the Niners were going to come out, and even if I thought they were the better team, I would probably pick the Packers because of Rodgers. And I don't really necessarily think they're the better team anyway. So I kind of have to go with the Packers here. Just overall, I think they have they win this game about 70% of the time, 7 out of 10.
I'd agree. I mean, I think the Packers overall have a better team, but the Niners, I mean, you can't ever count them out when it comes, to a game like this, especially when it comes to running the football. It just depends on the tone that they're able to set.
That's true.
That's going to be a big thing. But yes, I agree. I'm going to take, got to take Aaron Rodgers in this situation. Turnovers are going to be big. Jimmy Garoppolo makes one bad play, then Aaron Rodgers will make no bad plays. Is more than likely what it's going to be. So yes, I think we both agree right there on the Packers. Now Rams-Bucks. Wow, Sunday's games are going to be really tough to pick.
Yeah, they will be. It's going to be. These two are probably these might be the toughest two to pick.
And they have the potential for game of the year in each conference. I mean, they're gonna be something special. I'm looking at this matchup on my other computer right now. Looking at the matchup, the Rams won week 3. The Bucks have still gotten to this point after all the turmoil that's been going on. I'm gonna say that I'm going to give you the pick first.
Okay. My pick is actually the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
I think they take down Tom Brady here, which is, tough to do, especially in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Matt Stafford plays a low to no turnover game. And I think I think Cooper Kupp has a big night, which, not really a surprising pick or anything, but I just think he does. Yeah. And then I think Odell catches a touchdown as well. And I think the defense puts a lot of pressure on Tom Brady here. And, you got Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. Those two of the best defensive players in the league. So I'm going to go with the Rams.
Got a score?
Oh, yeah. Man.
It's a tough one.
33-30.
All right. In that whole spiel right there, I was looking at, I was thinking about it in my mind. I was thinking, just from the looks of it, are the Bucs going to get their revenge? How are they going to look? Is Leonard Fournette going to play? All that. But the Rams, I mean, they're built to win now. And I'm going to agree with you. I have the Rams winning this as well. I'm gonna say, wow. I'm gonna say something up there, up in the sky, 41-34.
Ooh,
I think it's gonna be a really high scoring game, and I will mark my words. Matt Stafford throws for 425.
that'd be fun to watch.
He'll throw for 425 and 3 touchdowns.
That would certainly be. I mean, I'd like that.
I'd love to see it as a fan and all that stuff. Just but I think everyone's gonna love to see that. But yeah, I think they're 425 and 3 touchdowns. Actually, mark me on that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. 425 and 3. We'll see what happens when it comes to those two showing down. But I still think Tom Brady's gonna play one heck of a game. But I think he'll make the mistake overall. I think he'll make the costly mistake that puts him in a bet. Yes. I feel like Jalen Ramsey is going to make a play that's going to show why he's the best corner in football.
I mean, wouldn't shock me.
I don't know if it's going to be an interception. It might be a batted ball. It might be a throw that should have been complete, but Ramsey's just able to cover ground and all that stuff. I still think he's going to make the play.
It would be. Tom Brady versus arguably the best corner are going to be a fun matchup, and if it ends that way, that would be pretty that's kind of what would be destined to happen in a way when those two go together. Like one of them makes a play against the other.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be a fun one to watch. 3:00 on NBC and Peacock right there. Last game, fireworks. I mean, that's just what it is. Bills Chiefs. Chiefs won the AFC Championship last year over the Bills. They actually beat them last year in Week 6 in Buffalo on that weird Monday edition of Thursday Night Football. That whole COVID year was something else.
Yeah, it was weird.
But 2021, Bills beat the Chiefs. Honestly, stopped them on Sunday Night Football. It's 2022 now, so if we're gonna go alternating like that in actual calendar years, I'm gonna say the Chiefs are gonna win this one, but I think it's gonna go to a game-winning field goal. Give me 37-34 Chiefs. We're gonna see one hell of a day of football on Sunday. All right, yeah. I'm anticipating, to mark that down. I think it's January 23rd as arguably one of the best days we've ever seen of playoff football in history.
It's going to be really fun, and these two, we've been talking about teams that are different from each other, but these two are pretty similar.
Yes, they
are.
And
the fact that they're very explosive at passing the ball. So I think the Chiefs win it. I think they move on like they have been the past couple of years for a shot at the AFC Championship. Man, score is going to be think of the score. Let's go with 45-41. Huge shootout.
Wow.
This is going to be the shootout.
We're talking about some heat coming down at Arrowhead. It's going to be like 25 out there, so the heat and intensity is just going to rise.
It's going to, both of these guys can play in the cold, so I'm not even scared of that.
I'm just expecting I'm expecting a Tony Romo call. Here we go, Jim, Tony, and all that. It's just some Tony Romo quote that's just going to come from that game. And yeah, I'm not even going to lie. I don't know how many Steelers games Tony Romo's done this year. He's done probably a couple, but it's cool how he's able to break down a game like that. So he's a very interesting announcer to say.
He is he always knows what's going to happen, which is scary. I remember he called CeeDee Lamb's game-winning touchdown against
the Patriots, I think.
The Patriots, yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember he was like, they just went to this one. They were trying to run this play where he was going to run a deep over play action, and they ran it. He was like, that was the play. He was like bragging how he called it, which he did. So it was impressive for sure.
Yeah, he's a very interesting announcer overall. And then Jim Nantz. Jim Nantz is Jim Nantz. I'm not going to talk much about that anyway, but yeah. This is going to be one heck of a weekend for football. I hope I'm able to see this weekend for football, but the only thing that I'm worrying about right now is 4:30 on Saturday after I have my basketball game. But yeah, I'm worrying about 4:30 Saturday. We get that win. Oh boy. Boy, that's all I can say. But yeah.
Big for
mm-hmm. And it's going to be something. But so our conference championship predictions, we both agree Packers Rams is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're going with Titans Chiefs in Nashville. I'm going with Bengals Chiefs in Arrowhead for 2 different rematches right there for 2 different reasons. Actually,
Yeah.
the same result because the Chiefs lost both those games in the regular season.
Oh yeah. But the Titans one was when they weren't at their full strength, I feel like.
That's true. That's true. And it's actually a very interesting thing to look at that the Chiefs to the remaining AFC teams, they lost to the Titans, they lost to the Bills, and they lost to the Bengals.
Yeah. They're and it's funny because I'd probably say
I take Chiefs over any of them.
I mean they gotta be the highest betting odds to win the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, out of the AFC. Yeah.
I mean, I would take them over any of them. I'm not gonna lie. Like I
Yeah.
would.
It's just kind of crazy how, that any given Sunday can happen. These are all very good teams that are in it still, but
Yeah.
that just shows any given Sunday can happen in the National Football. But yep, that'll do it for our show tonight. The divisional roundup. As we said, it's going to be one heck of a weekend of football with a lot of good quarterback play and all that stuff. A lot of good team play overall. This is the Elite Eight of football in the NFL this year. So just sit back, relax, and watch some playoff football this weekend.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm Chase Yance, Brady King on the other line, and we will see you guys next week.
Yep. See you guys.